Charlie plans to train 40 to 50 men into 2-3-star warriors using diluted blood pills, building a force under Ruoli to rival global powers. The He family's 10 elites, including Luther and Roma, arrive in Aurous Hill and are housed in a riverside villa. Luther pledges loyalty and offers to teach internal boxing. Charlie introduces them to Pollard and Melba as neighbors for protection. Meanwhile, Siyu secretly takes over the Sioux shipping business, then holds a press conference confirming her safety but avoiding attacking Changfeng, disappointing the public. Dear viewers, enjoy the story, thank you.
Chapter 2851. For 40 to 50 people, there is no need for a blood-saving pill each time. He only needs to dissolve 4 or 5 blood-saving heart-saving pills in the water, and let them take it evenly to achieve good results. In this way, every once in a while, they will use the blood rescue pill to gradually help them improve. With this, within a year or half, they will be able to reach the level of a 2-star warrior or even a 3-star warrior. If you really have 40 or 50 3-star warriors under your hand, it is definitely a force that cannot be underestimated. Pulling to Japan, you can easily wipe out a ninja family. Moreover, there is Ruoli next to him. Now she is already the best among the 3-star warriors. If he helps her again, she will soon become a 4-star warrior like her grandfather. Even in the near future, Charlie will be able to make her overtake Luther and become the only 5-star warrior in the country. In this way, he would hand over the newly trained team and the warriors sent by the He family to Ruoli for unified command. With her abilities, she would definitely be able to maximize the capabilities of these people. Charlie was accustomed to fighting alone before, but after experiencing so many things and getting to know Hamid, he realized that no matter how strong the ability to fight alone is, there are times when he can't do it alone. So, now is the best opportunity to completely change his mind and action strategy. At that time, not only will the Japanese be shocked, but even if it is deployed to Europe and America from a long distance, the combat effectiveness will not be a problem. The Rothschild family is indeed very powerful. It has countless hidden assets and private armaments all over the world. However, if dozens of 3-star warriors who are good at using thermal weapons are airborne over their heads, the Rothschild family cannot afford it. When the sun sets and the sky is full of sunrays crossing the clouds, a Gulfstream passenger plane, dressed in golden sunshine, landed at Aurous Hill Airport. The 11 people who were sitting on the plane were sent by the He family this time, including Luther and Roma. When these people got off the plane, they were immediately arranged by Issac's fleet and dropped at the riverside villa that he had bought in advance. This villa happened to be in the same villa area as the riverside villa of Melba's father Pollard, but the area of this villa was much larger than that of Pollard's. Charlie actually has a bit of selfishness to arrange the He family here. He hopes that the He family can also pay attention to the situation of the father and daughter that is Pollard and Melba. If any family members live here, if someone starts to attack them, it will be hard to come over immediately for their rescue. At this time, Charlie, Issac, and Orvel were already waiting in the villa. When the team arrived, the sky hadn't completely turned dark. Issac's men took Luther, Roma, and the other He family members into the yard, and Charlie also brought Issac and Orvel to greet them. When Roma saw Charlie, she respectfully said, "Hello, Master Wade." Charlie smiled slightly and said, "Ms. He, you don't have to be so polite, just call me Charlie from now on." "How can it be?" Luther on the side said in full bloom, "Young Master Wade is the benefactor of the He family and the future master of the He family. The distinction of respect and inferiority is still necessary." After that, he clasped his fists in his hands, bowed deeply, and said, "Master Wade, here is Luther, the owner of the He family, thanks to the great kindness of Master, and no retribution. I will never hesitate to serve you ever." Charlie hurriedly stepped forward, raised his arms, and said seriously, "You don't have to be so formal, I am young, and I can't bear such a gift from you. What's more, now my identity is still a secret in Aurous Hill. Most people only know that I am a feng shui master, and don't know that I am originally a member of the Wade family of Eastcliff. If you call Master Wade long and short all day long, it will easily reveal my identity. Why don't you just call my name? My full name is Charlie Wade, Wade of the Wade family." Luther was surprised, he hesitated for a while, and said, This. We are so favored by you as a mountain like a sea, how can we directly call your name just like that? If the ancestors know it, I am afraid that they will beat me in the leg and break it with the blows. Orvel smiled and said, Mr. He, you are just like us, in front of outsiders, call him Master Wade. Anyway, his name is very famous in Aurous Hill. Master Wade. Luther repeated it subconsciously. Right. Orvel said with a smile. The real master of Dragon Leaf in the world, we basically know that Aurous Hill really has a face and reputation. Luther nodded solemnly as soon as he heard this, arched his hands at Orvel, and said, Thank you for this brother's suggestion. From now on, the master will be called Blessed Master Wade. Charlie's head was big. This group of people followed all the time and called him Master Wade, and he had already had a headache hearing it. But when he thinks about it, the title of Master Wade doesn't matter. Anyway, he has heard that a lot, and he is all numb. So he smiled helplessly and said to Luther, Since the old man insists, then I won't say more. Luther immediately clasped his fist and said, Luther, I have seen Master Wade. As soon as these words came out, others in the He family followed suit. Charlie nodded and said, That's it for these trivial matters. Let's talk about serious matters. After speaking, Charlie pointed to the villa in front of him, and said, Mr. He, this villa is prepared for you by me for your daily accommodation and cultivation. The house is large and there are many rooms. The level is opened up and it is enough for daily practice. If you need any equipment, you can talk to Mr. Issac when the time comes, and let him arrange someone to implement it for you when that time comes. Luther hurriedly said, Master Wade, you are so polite. In fact, we can live in an ordinary dormitory with ease. There is no requirement for living conditions. Charlie smiled and said, I talked about cooperation with the He family, not to squeeze the value of the He family, so you come all the way, and I won't let you do this and that all day long. In the future, you still have to have plenty of time to enjoy life, especially to continue practicing. If I arrange dormitories for you and not arrange a training venue, it will basically kill your room for future growth. Charlie's words moved the He family very deeply. They worked with the Sioux family before, but they didn't have such good treatment. In the Sioux family, they were just like the servants at home, on standby 24 hours a day. Even if it's bedtime, it's a command anytime, anywhere, no matter what they were doing, they must set off immediately. Moreover, even in normal times, there are no holidays. Most of them have their own objects of protection, so they basically have to stay in the dark during the day to do their security work with due diligence, and there is no time to strengthen their own practice. Ruoli was originally the best seedling in the He family's generation. But because she is the illegitimate daughter of Zin, and he needed a personal bodyguard, so she started to be his bodyguard at the age of 18. In the past few years as a bodyguard, her cultivation has almost stagnated, because there is no time or space for her to practice well. Therefore, Charlie prepared a villa for the He family to give them time to practice daily. He also made it clear that they must continue to practice and continue to improve themselves. This is indeed a world away from the Sioux family. Charlie said again at this time, My two subordinates, Mr. Issac and Orvel, each of them has a lot of hard-hearted brothers in their hands, but these people have not been in contact with martial arts, and the overall melee strength is relatively poor. So in the future, I also need a lot of help from Mr. He and you, and spare a certain amount of energy to help me train and improve them. When Luther heard this, he said without thinking, Master Wade, don't worry. You are kind to me and the He family, so I will do this for you wholeheartedly. My He family's internal boxing method is not good. It's incomplete, but it's still very practical for people who are just entering the industry. I will pass on the He family's internal boxing to them and try my best to improve their strength. As soon as Luther said this, except for Roma, the other He family members were shocked. The words of the old man are tantamount to giving away the most precious and invaluable things of the He family. The He family's internal boxing method, that is the biggest reliance of the He family for hundreds of years. Just giving it out will definitely have a huge impact on the He family in the future. However, although everyone is worried, no one dared to put forward any meaning. After all, after the eldest son Tom defected, the rest of the He family followed Luther desperately. Although they didn't understand his approach, they wouldn't have any rebellious intentions. Roma knows Charlie's strength and knows whether the He family can reach a higher level in the future. It all depends on him, so he family's inner family boxing skills are not worth mentioning in front of all this. Moreover, this is also a way for her father to express his sincerity to Charlie on behalf of the He family. Charlie didn't expect that Luther would face him, after 2 or 3 sentences, and simply want to take out the inner boxing technique of the He family. Moreover, based on his understanding of Ruoli, she would definitely not immediately reveal in advance that he might give the He family a complete internal boxing technique just because he gave her a mobile phone. Therefore, it can be seen that Luther is not only grateful, but he can indeed make a choice. This is very rare. From the feudal society to today, China has lost countless folk skills. The reason for the loss is that many people who have mastered the skills cherish themselves. Even if they take this skill into the grave, they are unwilling to pass it on to outsiders. To a certain extent, this has indeed caused heavy losses to traditional folk culture and skills in the course of thousands of years of development. It's like the inner family boxing technique that the ancestors of the He family got by chance. If its previous owner could open it up, it wouldn't end up being a fragmented scroll. Therefore, based on the old man's attitude, Charlie's first impression of him was very good. Therefore, he arched his hand at him and said seriously, "I can rest assured about this matter with what Mr. He said. I hope that Mr. He can train more middle and advanced players for me in the future. There are also some retired special forces who are good at thermal weapons. They have strong professional skills in thermal weapons, lurking, and tracking. If they are interested in the He family, they can also learn more. Combining tradition and modernity can achieve better strong combat effectiveness." Hearing this, he said with excitement, "That's really great. We actually had this idea a long time ago, and we mentioned it to the Su family at the time, but the Su family owner was very afraid that we would have too much. Mastering automatic weapons and modern scientific equipment have never been allowed to us, so we have never found a suitable opportunity. The control of modern weapons is extremely strict. Although the bodyguards of the Su family and the Wade family have retired top special forces, the weapons and equipment are indeed very sensitive. Without extremely powerful abilities, it is impossible to solve them. Although the He family is a top-notch martial arts family, they can't do modern weapon training for family members with fanfare. Without external support, it is really difficult to achieve. But Charlie is good to say. After that, Issac himself has a certain amount of energy, which can solve the problem of modern weapons to a certain extent. Take a step back and say, even if he can't solve it, he doesn't have a new friend Hamid in Syria. If it doesn't work, he will send the personnel directly to him for closed training for a period of time, or maybe he will have the opportunity to participate in the actual combat exercise, which will definitely do more with less. Thinking of this, Charlie said to Old Man He, "I will let Mr. Issac arrange this matter and implement it as soon as possible." After that, he turned around and said to Issac, "Mr. Issac, strive to build a land in the suburbs of Aurous Hill, and we will build a closed training base." Issac immediately said, "Okay master, I will start the selection of the site tomorrow." Charlie nodded, and said to Old Man He, "Old man, let's come in and take a look at the house first. If there is any dissatisfaction, you can raise it." Luther hurriedly said, "Master Wade is too polite. Even if it is a rough house, we are quite satisfied with such a big villa." Charlie smiled and said, "That's more than just, come in and have a look." Charlie asked Issac to buy this villa, although it was second-hand, but after all, it was also used by wealthy people before. Therefore, whether it is decoration or furniture and home appliances, it is very elegant. Compared with his old house in Mochang, it is naturally much more luxurious. Luther thanked Charlie with great gratitude and prepared to give his family a room. Charlie said to Roma at this time, "By the way, Ms. He, I think the people who came this time are all men except you. It is not very convenient for you to live here. Mr. Issac happens to be in charge of the entire Shangri-La Hotel, so let him arrange a room for you in the hotel." When Roma heard this, she immediately understood that Charlie wanted to arrange for her to live with her daughter. Naturally, she had 10,000 willingness in her heart, and she was even a little impatient. So she quickly agreed and thanked him. "Thank you, Master Wade." Charlie smiled slightly. "You are welcome." Luther didn't think too much, and said with emotion, "Master Wade, you are really kind. Roma is really not suitable to live with us, and she has a disability, and there are many inconveniences in her daily life. Living in a hotel will be relatively easier. I thank you for her." Charlie nodded, and said to Roma, "Ms. He, I'm going back to Shangri-La just in a moment. You can come with me." Roma was naturally excited when she thought of seeing her daughter later, and nodded and said, "Okay, Master Wade." Seeing that it was late, Charlie took out his mobile phone and called Melba's father, Pollard. Pollard's house is only 200 to 300 meters away, so Charlie wanted him to bring Melba over, so that they could get to know Luther and Roma, so that if there are any emergencies in the future, they can contact the He family for help. Pollard has been taking time off for the past 2 days to accompany Melba to recuperate at home. During the days of being kidnapped, Melba's body has indeed been tortured a lot. The basement was dark and humid, and it was basically difficult to fill her stomach. Both mentally and physically she has suffered a lot of torture and pressure. Although he was relatively excited when he was first brought back by Charlie, he felt a strong sense of exhaustion immediately after returning home. In the past 2 days, she felt that her whole body was like a completely dead battery, and her body and spirit were extremely weak. Pollard has always been with her at home. Fortunately, Melba started to get better today. She ate more and her mental state also improved to a certain extent. After receiving Charlie's call, Pollard hurriedly said politely, "Charlie, why do you have time to call Uncle?" Charlie smiled and said, "Uncle, I happen to be in your community. Some of my friends moved here to live. I have come here to help them settle down. I think you and Melba also live here. I plan to call you to meet now. I wonder if you are at home." Pollard hurriedly said, "I'm at home and Melba is here, but she has just recovered in these 2 days, so I don't let her go. I'll look for you in the future. What do you think?" "Okay." Charlie naturally didn't have any comments, and said hurriedly, "I am in 32 villas now. Come here if it is convenient for you. The friends here are all very skilled martial arts masters. What if you have anything here in the future? Trouble, you can ask them for help at any time." When Pollard heard this, he knew that this must have been carefully arranged by Charlie. He was moved in his heart and looked forward to it, so he said, "Then wait a while, Uncle will pass." After hanging up the phone, Melba came over and asked curiously, "Dad, is it Charlie calling?" "Yes." Pollard nodded and said, "Charlie happened to be in our community. He has a friend who moved over to live, so he invited me to meet him." After that, he said to Melba, "You are not feeling well, just wait for me at home." He didn't think that Melba, who was still a little listless, would suddenly say with excitement, "I want to go too." During the 2 days of resting at home, what Melba was thinking about was the shadow of Charlie. She originally wanted to contact him as soon as possible, and then go directly to him to report and start work. But the physical condition is indeed a bit weak, and her father has been stopping her from letting her go to work so soon, so she can't wait any longer. Now that she heard that Charlie was in her own community, naturally, she couldn't wait to see him quickly. Pollard originally persuaded her to rest at home, but when he saw her resolute attitude, he stopped talking and said hurriedly, "Then you change your clothes and come out, Charlie is still waiting." "Okay." Melba was overjoyed, and her whole spirit was lifted a lot, and she quickly turned around and went back to her room. She chose a beautiful dress carefully, but seeing that she was still a little pale, she quickly put on makeup at the fastest speed. When she came out of the room, she was totally different from the self just now. Pollard didn't expect that his daughter would become so energetic all at once, and he couldn't help feeling a little surprised. He didn't know what kind of blood she had beaten. The father and daughter came out of the house together, and within a few minutes, they came to the villa where Charlie was. When entering the door, Charlie was standing in the courtyard talking to Luther and Roma. When Pollard and Melba came in, he hurriedly said with a smile, "Old He and Ms. He, I will introduce 2 friends to the 2. They also live in this community. You will be neighbors with them in the future." Pollard also walked over quickly at this time, and before he got there he waved his hand and said, "Charlie, why don't you come over and say hello in advance? I'm ready to have dinner and have a good night at home." Charlie smiled and said, "Uncle, you are too polite. I happened to accompany my friend to take a look at the house here. I have to go home later, so I will come back and trouble you another day." With that said, he looked at Melba next to Pollard. Seeing that she was in good condition and her pretty face was also showing red clouds, he couldn't help but smile and said, "Melba, it seems that you are in good condition today." Melba said with some embarrassment, "Thank you, Mr. Wade, for your concern. Today is much better, and I can report to you the day after tomorrow." Charlie waved his hand. "Don't worry, it's okay for you to take a good rest for 2 days." Melba hurriedly said, "I really have almost recovered. If I have a good night's sleep tonight, there should be no problem tomorrow. Where do you think I will find you?" Charlie thought for a while and said, "Well, don't you tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. At 9 o'clock the next morning, you go to Embrand Group to find the chairman Doris Young. Then I will be waiting for you at her office." "Okay." Melba nodded without hesitation, and said, "I must be at the Embrand Group on time the next morning." Charlie said, "I happen to have worn a song from the Song family in Aurous Hill and Ito Nanako from the Ito family in Japan. The Song family is now cooperating with Japan's Nippon Steel to build a factory in China. In the future, it will definitely require a lot of maritime transport capacity. The Ito family itself also has a lot of shipping resources in Japan, and you can integrate them and work together at that time. You can get to know them the day after tomorrow and see how to cooperate next." Melba hurriedly said, "No problem, Mr. Wade, I will put together a basic plan in the next 2 days." "Okay." Charlie smiled and nodded, then hurriedly said, "Oh, I almost forgot to do business." As he said, he pointed to Pollard and said to Luther, "Old man, this is my mother's classmate and friend back then, Professor Pollard Watt, and the beautiful woman next to him is Professor Watt's daughter, Melba. You will be in contact with them in the future. In the community, if there is anything that needs your help, please take care of it." Luther said without hesitation, "Master Wade can rest assured, Professor Watt and Miss Watt can come to me at any time if they have anything to do." Pollard was still a little puzzled. How could Charlie let an old man who was almost able to be his father to take care of and protect him and his daughter? However, he also knew that Charlie had a lot of magical powers, and this arrangement must have his intentions, so he said very politely, "Hey, you will take care of me in the future." Luther arched his hands and said with a smile, "Professor Watt doesn't have to be so polite. From now on, everyone will be friends. It is a matter of course to help each other." Pollard felt that Luther, the old man, seemed a bit unusual. He spoke with a quagmire, and although he was not young, he looked a bit like a master, and he should be no ordinary person. As he was thinking, Charlie introduced at this time, "Uncle, Father is the patriarch of the Northeast He family, and the Northeast He family is one of our 4 major martial arts families in China. In the future, Father and the masters of his family will be living here. The safety of you and Melba must be greatly guaranteed." When Pollard heard this, his expression was suddenly shocked, and he immediately said in awe, "Old I didn't expect you to be a martial artist. What a disrespect and I have been extending as of now." Luther smiled and said humbly, "Professor Watt, please don't be so polite. We are just some rough people with spears and clubs, and you are the most respectable for learning." Charlie shook his head helplessly, and said with a smile, "You two should stop talking about each other in business here. You will all be neighbors in the future, and there are opportunities to talk." Luther laughed and said, "Well, since Master Wade has said so, when we have a good drink the next day, Master will definitely come to join us." Charlie smiled and said, "In that case, I will arrange it at night. It just so happens that I have to pick up the dust for you and Ms. Everyone has a light meal and 2 more drinks." Luther hurriedly said, "If Master Wade has arrangements tonight, we can do it another day." Charlie smiled and said, "In fact, it's nothing big, just going home for dinner, but my wife has been busy with projects recently and won't go home to eat tonight." After that, he asked Pollard and Melba, "Uncle, are you and Melba free tonight?" "No problem." Before Pollard spoke, Melba hurriedly responded. She knew that her father had cooked a pot of pig's knuckle soup at home today, and planned to cook noodles for her at night, and this was of her own initiative, because when she was young, her favorite was the pig's knuckle noodles made by father. But since Charlie wants to invite her and Dad to eat together, of course, she still wants to eat with Charlie in her heart. If Dad opens his mouth to solve it at this time, wouldn't her hope be lost? Pollard rushed to agree when he heard that his daughter was so refreshing. He was surprised and felt a little bit sour in his heart. He also just learned 2 days ago that his daughter's S3 shul orientation is actually straight. It was also at that time, he realized that his daughter should have some feelings for Charlie. He still regretted that Charlie was married after all, and the two could only say that they had no relationship. But looking at the shyness of his daughter now, it seems that she is really tempted by this young man. Thinking of this, he couldn't help sighing in his heart. Hey, the girl is so tempted. The old man prepared the pig's feet noodles for the whole afternoon, so I am now directly left behind. It seems that this is really a female congress. At the same time, Jiu carried a thick school bag on her back and returned to Du's mansion from outside. Just now, she had negotiated all the conditions with Anson, the butler sent by grandfather Chungfeng, and completed the procedures for changing all the shares of the Su family's ocean transportation group. Now, the huge mess of the Su family's ocean transportation is hers. At home, no one knew where she went, so everyone came forward and asked. Jiu made just an excuse for going out and doing something, and temporarily stalled the queries. Only her brother Jufei felt very bad. He vaguely felt that his sister should have reached some kind of cooperation with grandfather. So he went back to his room and called Chungfeng. As soon as the phone was connected, he couldn't wait to ask, "Grandpa, have you settled with Jiu?" Chungfeng asked back, "What? Jiu didn't tell you?" Jufei felt a little bit in his heart, and said hurriedly, "No, I didn't ask her, she just came back from outside." "Yes," Chungfeng said indifferently, "Jiu asked me to negotiate terms. She is going to take Sus Ocean Shipping Group. That all business is now hers." Jufei felt like the sky was spinning. An industry worth hundreds of billions of dollars, the old man gave it to her. This is too far beyond imagination, right? Suddenly, he felt very uncomfortable in his heart. He thought to himself, Jiu never told me about this from beginning to end. Did she treat me as an outsider? Also, why is the old man so willing to be so accommodating towards her? Give her all the business of the Su family's sector in one hand, is this not too bold? Ocean shipping business accounts for almost 20% to 25% of the Su family, which means that the Su family that I will inherit in the future will be bidden by others. In Jufei's heart, he gradually began to lose his balance and became angry. He wanted to question Grandpa why he gave Jiu such a large piece of business. However, he did not dare to say this. Because he knows that if he asks, he is immediately not a sensible human inside and out. Not only did he let the old man know that he was very dissatisfied with his own sister, but also let the old man notice his own desire for profit. Therefore, he could only suppress the anger in his heart, and said with a melancholy voice, "Hey! Jiu is so ignorant. Grandpa, don't be angry with her, I'll turn around and persuade her. I will persuade her to return this business sooner or later." Jufei's remarks made Chungfeng, who had just cut the meat, very pleased. He couldn't help but sighed, "My grandson, you are more sensible." Jufei's heart was bleeding, but he was definitely more depressed when he heard the details, so he said, "Grandpa, actually, it may not be a bad thing to give these things to Jiu for the time being. Isn't our business now being suppressed? Maybe, it can make a breakthrough in Jiu's hands. In case she really puts effort to revitalize it, I will find a way to help you get this business back to the Su family. In this case, the Su family will not be lost, but you can still receive dividends." Chungfeng said with some relief, "I'm so relieved that you have this mind. As for your sister, can she revitalize this business?" When Chungfeng said this, he couldn't help but pause for a moment, and exclaimed, "To be honest, I am looking forward to it now." After that, Chungfeng said again, "Jufei, during this time, you must keep me informed of Jiu's every move. Where she goes, who she sees, and what she does, she must be investigated clearly for me. Do you understand?" Jufei hurriedly said, "I know Grandpa, don't worry." "Okay." Chungfeng sighed and said, "What I am most worried about right now is not whether she can do this business well. What I am worried about is whether she will sell all the fixed assets of Ocean Shipping Group as soon as it changes hands. So many ships, so many port resources, and packaged canal passage rights can be sold for hundreds of billions of dollars, so you must pay attention to any disturbances she makes." Jufei's expression suddenly shrank, and he said hurriedly, "Grandpa, I must keep an eye on her." The young man was extremely upset when he hung up the phone. I have worked so hard for so long, even after my mother and sister had an accident, I still had to go to please the old man. But what does this old thing give me? Nothing at all. There are no real benefits. He just drew me a flatbread, I don't know if there is a chance to eat it. However, Jiu grabbed the old man's handle, took the opportunity to make trouble once, and got such a large piece of property. This is too unfair. At the same time, Charlie and others had arrived at Classical Mansion. Since it was a joyous drink session, Charlie naturally chose the location here. It just so happened that some of the He family members would be distributed to Orvel in the future. Charlie simply called both Orvel and Issac over to eat here. Moreover, he also intends to let Pollard and Melba get to know them both. As long as these two people are there, basically there is nothing wrong with Aurous Hill. After receiving Charlie's call, Issac and Orvel put aside what they were doing and went straight to Classical Mansion. At the table, Charlie introduced the two to Pollard and Melba. Although Melba had met Issac before, there were not many intersections. This time, he simply used the dinner to make her familiar with Issac and Orvel. She was not surprised at Charlie's contacts. She had already realized that he had already built a huge network of contacts in Aurous Hill. It can be said that there are people with faces in this city, and there is no one who can't look at his face and admire and revere not. Even, many of them are almost equal to his disciples. She was a little surprised by Charlie's patience and meticulousness, because few of the top rich second-generation generations she knew could manage a basic plate first in a down-to-earth manner. In general, the top rich second-generation generations feel that their debut is the peak, so they like to play high, and it is their most normal operation to continuously deploy many projects in one go. But Charlie was different from those people. He, as the young master of the Wade family, instead of playing high in Eastcliff, worked steadily in a second-tier city like Aurous Hill. On the surface, it seems calm, but in fact, he has already penetrated every part of the city classes and every inch of land. This steady and slow approach is the basis for great things. In Charlie's approach, first, take root in the city on the edge of the Yangtze River, and then promote business to the coast through ocean transportation, regardless of the future economic situation at home and abroad. Changes can be able to advance and attack, retreat and defend. This also gave her full confidence in her career map of joining his camp. Because of happiness, everyone except Melba drank a few more glasses. Charlie also drank a lot today. The Moutai prepared by Orvel has a high degree of potency. He deliberately did not use aura to dissolve the alcohol, but instead allowed the alcohol to reach a slightly drunken state in his body. This slightly drunken feeling made him more happy with the mood. He is happy because he feels that with the presence of Pollard and Melba, the father and daughter, his future layout in ocean transportation is absolutely stable. And when Charlie and everyone were in the Classical Mansion, Jiu held a brief press conference over the internet. The format of the press conference was live broadcast through online media, and the location of Jiu's live broadcast was chosen in the antique study in the old house of Du's house. Originally, everyone thought that she would definitely condemn Chungfeng in public at the press conference. But what everyone could not expect was that she was very indifferent throughout the whole process and did not have any aggressiveness. At the beginning of the press conference, she stood up and said to the camera, "Hello everyone, I am Jiu, the granddaughter of Su family. During this time, thanks to everyone's concern, I am holding this press conference to tell everyone who cares about me and cares about my safety and well-being. My mother's friends, my mother Leona, and I have returned to normal family life and our bodies are also very healthy. Please rest assured." After speaking, she said again, "My mother and I are not public figures, so I want to apologize to the people of the country for taking up so much public resources for myself and my mother." Afterwards, she briefly introduced her and her mother's experience in the car accident. In this regard, she did not hide and whitewash too much, that is to say, a savior took her and her mother out of the Forbidden Mountain Tunnel, and provided them with professional treatment for the two of them. After the two recovered, then officially returned them to Aurous Hill. Some people wanted to know the identity of the savior, but Jiu claimed to the public that she does not know the true identity of the savior. In addition, she also promised the savior not to disclose any details about him. As for someone asking her whether Grandpa Chungfeng will be held accountable, Ziu's answer is also very ambiguous. I don't want to respond to this question for the time being. The majority of netizens also want to see a granddaughter tearing grandpa. After all, with the attention and sympathy of the people across the country is a blessing, Jiu can easily push the culprit Chungfeng into the abyss. It's like the people all over the country use their own support to help her build an indestructible gun. As long as she pulls the trigger, it will definitely kill Chungfeng. However, no one thought that she held the trigger and finally chose to give up. Countless people are disappointed, and of course, many people can understand her point of view. Sometimes, the palms of the hand and the backs of the hands are full of meat. Since she and her mother are safe, it is better to look at the family's face and reduce the major and minor matters.